and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name's Thomas, joined by Terry and Paul the Esk on Twitter. We're going to be giving our match preview for Southampton coming up, obviously off the back of a very successful week for the club, beating obviously Liverpool. Digne signed a new contract, and the new stadium has been approved by the council. So it's been a great week, and obviously we want the good news to keep on rolling. Coming up against a Southampton side who are pretty much struggling this year. They've probably had a accident, dropped my phone there. Obviously, they kind of started brightly. They did very well last season, and we didn't really stand a chance against them when we came up against them. But this season, not the same. Obviously, losing 9-0 to Manchester United a few weeks ago was very poor. But Terry, what have you made of the Southampton season so far? It's been fairly poor by their standards.
I think they're a very good team. I don't understand why they're on such a bad run. I mean, how any team can lose 9-0 2 seasons running, I just don't know. It's the most Everton thing that's ever happened that didn't happen to Everton. Like, I've got that in the Brighton game where the penalty was given after the final whistle. I just thought that's very much Everton. But Southampton are a good team. I think we should beat them, not because we've got any divine right, but after winning at Anfield, you've got to go and capitalise on that. You've got to follow that up with another win, especially if you're at Goodison Park. Won't be as simple as that, though, because not only are they a decent side just on a bad run, they're also the type of side that we don't like playing against. They're very high energy. They've got a lot of legs in midfield who can move around, get around the pitch a lot, which is what we haven't got. We're going to have to probably look at this game very much the same way we looked at the Liverpool game, and I think we're going to have to do a tactical job on them rather than just turn up and just try and play our game and beat them, which has seen us come unstuck in the likes of the games against Newcastle at home, Fulham at home, West Ham at home. I think we'd be best served to approach this like an away game.
Yeah, even though they are a good side that are struggling, they do have some really good players. They are the kind of side that I'm always nervous against. Very high energy, high pressing. It was the same against Leeds. Even though they are teams that we should be beating in theory, and we do need to capitalise on the Derby win. We always seem to struggle against these high pressure sides. And as you mentioned there, I think it is going to be an interesting tactical battle between obviously Ancelotti and Hassan Hüttl, who I think is a pretty decent manager. He just doesn't seem to be able to get them out of this rut at the moment. Paul, what do you make of Southampton so far this season?
Yeah, well, I mean, the form in recent months since Christmas has been disastrous, hasn't it? So I think they're probably happy that they've got a few points in the bag beforehand. If you look at the away form, they're 15th in the away table. So, or rather, in the table of, if you just look at it, away performance. I think it's down to us. I think, and I hope that Ancelotti is getting the players into a frame. I mean, not evidenced yet, but certainly evidenced by our away form that we don't really care who we're playing. That we have a way of playing, and we go out and we play our own game, which is really, I know this is not about Liverpool, but it's really the way that we played in the derby for the first time in many years. We actually just went and played the game rather than playing the occasion. And if Ancelotti can get us into that position where all of our home games, we're just actually just playing the game rather than playing, thinking about the opposition too much, then I think we'll succeed. It was really interesting listening to him talk after the Fulham game. No, sorry, after the Derby match, not the Fulham game. And he said that he had no idea why we couldn't perform in a better manner at home. Why our away record was so much better than our home record. But I hope that the result in the Derby match will have given the team, a huge boost of confidence. And perhaps we need to go back to playing how we were playing at the beginning of the season, and being a bit more assertive, being a bit more aggressive, starting the game faster than we have done in recent weeks. Because even against Fulham, we were very passive. So I can't believe that we will see a similar type performance as to Fulham, Newcastle, etc., West Ham. Surely the players themselves after Saturday will have more belief in their own abilities.
It is a strange one coming up against the side, because obviously I'm just looking at their form here. They haven't won since the 4th of January in the league, when they actually beat Liverpool at home.
Yep.
But they've won their FA Cup games. They beat Arsenal in the FA Cup. They beat Wolves in the FA Cup. That it seems to be a really strange form, and I can't quite get my head around it. But looking more inwardly, obviously looking at ourselves, apparently Alan and Dominic Calvert-Lewin are back. Kabamen's not training with the squad yet, so he's obviously not going to feature at all. So, Terry, what kind of team are you looking to put out? Because obviously we have to make a couple of changes against Liverpool, but are you bringing those players straight back in?
I think we'll see the same back four as it were. I know it was a back five at times. I think Coleman might drop out, because I think he did a very specific job on Andy Robertson, and it might not be required again in this game for is it Bertrand still, the Southampton left back?
So, yeah.
Yep.
Might not be as necessary, but I don't expect to see any other change. I think we might just see possibly Coleman out, Calvert-Lewin in. I wouldn't expect to see Alan straight away. He's been out for a long time, and coming in against such a high energy team might be a little bit too strenuous to start that game. Might ease him back a bit more gently. But I wouldn't expect big sweeping changes outside of that, because the players were all so good in the derbies, and I wouldn't change anything. But you never know, because Carlo's not one for not changing. He seems to take each game on its own merits and tinkers with things to suit the opposition. And I wouldn't if I was the manager, but I'm not the manager, so.
Yeah, because it does seem to depend. Obviously, Ancelotti he obviously changes his system quite a lot, and I guess it's up to him whether we're looking to get more defenders on the pitch as we did against Liverpool. Because obviously at times we played Coleman at kind of right midfield, or Digne at left midfield, obviously jumping back to make it a back five. So I guess it depends what Ancelotti thinks we're going to need more of. Paul, what are your thoughts on that? Are you keeping the team the same?
I think we've got to, in a sense, do what we did against Liverpool. We've got to press much higher up the pitch early on. We've got to play two up front. So Richarlison and DCL. And just not be so defensive and so slow when we start the game. Obviously, Southampton will have done their homework, and they will have looked particularly at the Fulham game. So we just have to change our approach. There's no reason at all why we can't go into that game. First of all, very confident, and secondly, even though they've got an excellent manager, Carlo should be able to set up a team, put out a team, give them instructions, give them a tactical game that wins the game. I mean, if everybody performs to the level that they can perform at, then there's no reason why we can't win.
Yeah,
so I think it's a question of everybody performing at the level that they can perform at.
Yeah, it is a strange one, this kind of run of games we have where we're performing much better against the sides higher up. Obviously, Newcastle losing twice to them this season is absolutely criminal. Losing to Fulham was a really poor result. It might harm us later on. So these are the kind of games that we definitely do need to take advantage of. Personally, I'd probably keep the team the same as well. There's no point in changing that winning formula. I'd like to see Josh King come in at some point. He really hasn't done much since he joined. Of course, he was playing for Bournemouth, so he wasn't completely unfit. But right, and that does bring us to the end of a quite a short match preview. Let's hope for a more positive result against Southampton. Thanks to Terry and Paul for joining us. Let us know down in the comments below your predictions, what you think might happen in the game, and let's just hope we can end this poor run of form against teams lower in the table, and we should be picking up these points that are going to push us up. So thank you all very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.